Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the UK League Championship. My name is Jake Kiprain Matthews, and I'm joined by Conan Scoundrel Low. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, mate. Yeah, no, I was fired yesterday. Borja fired me for one day.
But you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. They decided that I was good enough to bring back, to the UKLC. I know my casting is a little bit subpar, but I was hoping I'd get invited back.
I mean, you got me here. This is the home. This is the kingdom of
subpar.
Subpar.
If any of you haven't seen this, by the way, go to Dom Sacco's Twitter, and you can check out some of Jake's finest casting. I'm not going to repeat it live on air because it's not quite appropriate for broadcast. But if you go to Dom Sacco's Twitter, he has linked a wonderful clip of Jake's casting, which actually had me in tears. So go and check it out. It is really funny. It's an iteration on Wham Bam Thank You Ma'am, but Jake put his own twist on it.
I didn't mean to, by the way. I didn't even notice I did it.
Just like the rejuvenal beads.
Yeah. I thought you actually could. That's a clip I will never share. Anyway, guys, if you missed any of those games yesterday and you don't just want to get that one clip, you can head over to our YouTube channel, LVP UK, where you can catch up on all of the previous games. And yesterday we had 5 games, and they were 5 scorches. It was so good.
Scorches.
Scorches is the word I'm going
What temperature?
It was hot. It was spicy.
How hot? Give me the centigrade, baby.
Let's say, like, wait, which one's centigrade and Fahrenheit? Because one's like
Jake,
one we use
you're
the
British.
high numbers, one's where you use
British.
the low numbers.
Centigrade.
Oh, so that's the low
So
numbers.
centigrade, 0 is freezing, 100 is boiling.
Yeah, it was like, we're like, I don't know, man. We were like good 75, maybe.
That's like lukewarm.
80.
Get this guy off the air. Anyway, guys, if you are going to want to contest Jake on his Celsius usage, you can go to the Twitter at LVPUK, #UKLC, and tell this man that he thinks that Fahrenheit is even a real measurement and he should be shot and thrown off the, the broadcast. Not actually, though. I don't condone that in any way whatsoever. It's just a turn of phrase. Exactly.
I know it's a turn of phrase, don't worry. But we actually do have more going on over on that Twitter as well. We have a competition, which we hinted at yesterday, but it is our Easter egg competition, and you've got a purple chroma, our colors here at the UKLC, available for a Bullet Angel Kaiser skin. We've got 3 of those up for grabs.
This is a pretty cool skin.
And yesterday we hinted that there was a Easter egg, and no one really understood what we meant by the Easter egg. We saw a few tweets here and there, but no one particularly got it, so we're going to be a little bit more obvious with what that is. So Tibbers will now demonstrate to us what our Easter egg is. You will be looking for... Oh, perfect timing.
That was nice timing. At some point during the broadcast, you will see Dan Orcs Harrison's head appear. It's not going to be on Tibbers, this is too obvious. But at some point during the broadcast, Dan Orcs Harrison's head will appear. And once you see that, you've got to go immediately to Twitter and use the #UKLC and at LVPUK and let us know that you've seen it and where it was.
You have to screenshot it.
You have to screenshot it as well. So make sure you send it over or whatever. Just as long as you let us know where it was and all that kind of stuff. We just need the evidence. The first 3 people to do that will get the skin. And I'm just going to do my best Dan impression actually. Bring it back.
Yeah. That's a squat and a half.
Hi, I know everything about the UK scene and League of Legends. And I say book.
All right, it's good. Well, it's not actually going to be quite the Easter egg, but we do get to have a little look at Orcs' face as he's going to break down everything but what could happen here in the next few weeks.
You've got a book for us, Dan?
Yeah. You just break things down, and I've made this little presentation for you guys because it got really confusing as to where teams can end. I think I got it wrong as well, so I went over it. I took a lot of time on this, so if it's wrong, then I may as well get fired. But either way, these are the current points for each of the teams. So you know, Diabolus at the top, Darkspawn at the bottom, and then all in between. This is how many points they can still gain in week 6. So we have the 4 teams who are still in the semi-finals who can get 4 points. We have Diabolus who can get 1 more point if they manage to defend. They've already received their 3 points for being on top of the tower. And then the teams who've been knocked out can get 0. Week 7, every team can earn 5 except Diabolus. If they defend twice in a row, they will get that extra point. And these are the highest totals that they can receive. Now that's all confusing, it's not really relevant, no one really cares about that. The important thing is the highest and lowest placements. So the ones that I've highlighted in blue here, they can all get the first place spot. And the crucial thing is that the team who comes first will get a guaranteed spot at the play-ins of EU Masters. So Diabolus, Fnatic, M&M, and XL can all get that first place spot if they have perfect weeks for the rest of this week and next week. And then Enclave and Feeling, if they make a miracle run, they can still make playoffs. It would end up knocking XL out. That's what I've notified here. So these 3 teams are guaranteed in playoffs. XL's the one that it's still an uncertainty because Enclave and Feeling could either of them take their spot. And then down here, these are the teams that are potentially going to be up for relegation because they could finish 8th or 9th, which are 2 relegation spots. So those teams still have a lot to play for. And I mean, the thing is, you see colours all over it. Every team has something to play for still, so action's still going to be intense. But yeah, thanks. Hopefully that was helpful. If not, then, you know, whatever. Back over to you, Jake and Sin.
He just called me Sin
I said
as well.
Sin, I can't.
He just called me Sin as well.
The whole studio shook there.
What was that sound?
Sin, I can't pronounce your first name. I went for it.
Kiernan.
Kiernan,
He
right.
called him Sin.
Sin?
Not even close.
What else? I'm done.
Stuart
I'm
McLeod.
gone.
Call him Kieran. If you like really can't get it, just call him Kieran. Like, not Sin.
That's okay.
All right, Sin.
It's all right.
Talk to me about...
I was going to tell you a story about in A-level chemistry where I got called a specific variation of my name, and it's sometimes a name that you would call men who work in the Navy. But I'm not going to repeat it on broadcast because it's probably not appropriate. But let's just say that my A-level chemistry teacher called me in for my very important A-level exam, and instead of saying Kieran, Keeman, he said the variation of that word that is also a old mobile phone developer.
Oh Lord, I forgot about those guys. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not going to repeat it on stream because I don't want to get fired. I've already been fired once. I don't want to get fired again.
I had a maths teacher who used to forget my name. He thought I was called Luke, and he wrote on my report. You know, ignoring all the horrible things he wrote about me. He wrote Luke, and my mum went, "This isn't my son."
this is not my son.
My son isn't called Luke. So she asked him to change it. So he then changed it and gave it back, and it just still said Luke. He really didn't know my name. He was my maths teacher for 4 years. He still doesn't know my name.
Oh, I'm gonna call you Luke forever. just like, this isn't my son's report card. Oh. Still Luke. Great.
It's the theory that every boy looks like they could be called Luke.
Wait, is that theory? Have you just made that theory up?
No, I can't remember who told it to me, but if you look at everyone in that studio over there, every one of them could be called Luke.
I don't think Dan looks like a Luke.
I think he does.
Borja probably.
Borja definitely pulls the Luke off.
Do you think? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get on with today because we are going to be jumping into XL versus Enclave, which is going to be our first match of the day, Jake.
And I mean, it's going to be a very exciting match. Ignoring the whiteboard that just got destroyed by Orcs, all of the stuff he had on there written about how Enclave, if they have a miracle run, they can still make playoffs. They could still potentially make European Masters. XL, a team who we thought would be able to make the
I don't think Enclave can make European Masters.
They can make third, and then if they win the tournament...
Sorry, I thought you meant the first place. I was like,
they can't get it through points, but they can get it through making playoffs and then actually get a miracle run through the finals. It's still within their grasp. XL, they are still in the area where they could make 5th, and if they make 5th, that's them just like... I mean, they're not done, they're not relegated, but...
it's XL in the UK scene.
This is Gasing in Exile,
yeah, I know.
and they're currently in 4th in the UK scene.
Yeah, it's pretty huge. So, as you said and heard from Orcs, everything to play for. Now, those results, even if there are perfect results for Enclave, it does rely on other results going their way. For instance, like XL not getting any points next week, etc., etc. So there are still things to happen, which we'll go over as we get through. But... pretty huge deal that, you know, every game matters in some way still in the UKLC so far, and XL still not secured in the top 4 spot. They've had a dismal 2 weeks previous to this. They've got to shake things up this week.
I mean, their game versus Bulldogs, while it was possibly one of the best games we've had here at the UKLC, if you're XL, you're looking at that going, that was the worst game we've had. That was a 1-point team. Almost beating them. They had like a 10k gold lead. They completely outclassed XL in multiple ways. XL just outscaled them, and you actually play towards one of the things we've said they've been weak at is closing their games out and actually playing towards the late game. Typically, they're good at the early game, and then their later game can be a little bit shaky. It was completely the opposite way around yesterday.
Let's have a look, because I think something that we criticized from XL yesterday was their draft specifically. They kind of just let Bulldogs get everything that they would have wanted. And Dan mentioned it to me before we came on broadcast. He was like, if you think that Mystique's Thresh is like his comfort pick, they let Bulldogs get every single one of their comfort picks. Like their best champion in every role, like Bulldogs had that. And that's why it was such a difficult turn, you know, for XL to have to actually come against them. Even though they've got players that are arguably better caliber than the Bulldog players, they still let the Bulldog players have exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, and it shows you, giving even a team who's bottom of the tables comfort picks, they can still perform against a team like XL. But picks and bans have been rattling away. Well, we've been rattling away as well. Lucian, Jarvan, Kindred, Elise, Yasuo, and Silas all going to get banned away, and XL now looking for their first pick here.
Tax's Ivan, I remember that quite fondly over the last couple of years. He's played quite a lot of that, but it is going to be a very solid pick for XL specifically. I mean, first picking Ryze is not something you'd see a lot of teams do, but first picking Exile's Ryze is something that XL will do almost every opportunity, so that's what they've gone for straight away here. Yeah,
giving him that comfort pick, had a great performance on it when he moved over here as the mid for XL when they switched him special around. So comfort pick for him. It's been banned away pretty much most games against this team, but Enclave, they pick up the Galio as their most likely support. Still technically a flex, but most realistically going to go in the support. See what else they can get in this power pick here. Yeah,
well, obviously we've seen some target bans. I mean, Visek has had that Kindred ban against him almost every game that we've seen him play so far, which I think is a very sensible ban. And it looks like, obviously we know Galio, I wouldn't say Galio is as much of a flex as it used to be. I think it's almost certainly going to go support. They're going to go for the Galio Gragas here. Now, I envision that Gragas is jungle, but like you said, there is that potential for flexibility here, and that is something that XL will have in the back of their mind looking at this. You can make a pretty educated guess that this is going to be Galio going to support and Gragas going jungle, but there is always that off chance that Galio somehow goes mid and we have Gragas support. It might throw a couple of spanners in the works for XL.
I feel though, looking on paper, when you look at Wisek, this is if he hasn't had Kindred, he's pretty much played Gragas exclusively since then. And yesterday I said it in their game, Wisek is a player who, if he gets on a champion like the Gragas, his early game is so disgusting to deal with. But they do go for the Sejuani. Taxa had a good game on it yesterday, and we're going to see Kassim get his hands onto the Braum.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty solid draft. Very blue draft coming out from XL so far, but this is a very solid draft. Doesn't give too much away. It's very flexible. Ryze can fit into multitudes of compositions. 1-3-1, team fight. He scales quite nicely. Got a good mid game. Sejuani is what I like to call the skeleton. I call this last EU Masters is kind of what I described Sejuani as, and she still fits that bill. She's a skeleton key jungler.
Yeah.
She kind of does everything. Like she will fit any composition that you want her to fit into, and she'll do pretty much anything that any team can kind of demand from her. She's great in a 1-3-1 because of the ability to disengage. She's got great team fight. She's a really good frontliner. Sejuani just kind of does everything. So XL haven't given much away with their draft so far. They haven't said they're full scaling. They haven't said they're full 1-3-1. And again, this is now offering over not much in terms of ban strategy for Enclave going into this next phase.
Well, we do see Enclave in their final pick lock in the Vayne, denying that from Inax. We saw it yesterday on him. I think he went like 11-1 or something. He went incredible KD. He even sold boots and went Triforce at the end on the Vayne. Looked phenomenal on that champion, but
Enclave, he hard carried, really.
He hard carried, yeah. I mean, he basically pulled that game back from the 10k deficit. And we see Enclave go, okay, let's not get him a hyper carry like that. Let's not get him into that late game. So they're going to take away the Vayne. They do ban away the Relia. I'd like to see them maybe make another AD ban and just try and force Inax off something more high priorities. They do take away the Kalista from it.
Yeah, the Kalista now comes off the table because, again, Vayne is shorter range AD carry. If you go Kalista Braum in lane, it's very easy to abuse that. And Kalista Braum is one of those lanes that if you get on top of your opponents in carry, you're going to give them a bad time in lane. So we're going to get rid of that kind of lane dominant with Lucian gone as well. You're now looking at Inax to sort of say, well, what have you got left in terms of trying to be dominant in lane here versus my Vayne pick? And also you can either match it like, I mean, not many people will do this, but Monk, you would match Vayne with Kog'Maw, for instance, in terms of late game scaling. But I don't think that's something that Inax is likely to do here. So Inax has now got to go back to the table and say, what AD carry can I pick here that's going to give me either equal scaling potential with the Vayne, or give me something that I can put pressure on her in lane?
I feel like you just go the Tristana, but you could pull out something spicy if you want to go to just the win lane and like go Draven or something. But Draven, I don't know if Draven's in Inax's kind of wheelhouse here.
Well, interestingly, we do see the Yorick come through, which actually is early on. Now, Yorick is only ever going to go top, and XL have not drafted their top laner yet. So really, with knowing the fact that you know, unless we're going to see a Yorick mid, I mean, I'm throwing it out there, but we're going to see XL play Ryze. Actually, Enclave have thrown away any red side advantage, arguably, in terms of bringing a counter pick to the table here, because XL now have counter pick top lane, and they have the ability to now pick the AD carry that they want into the Vayne matchup.
Yeah, well, they do take that Tristana. Governor now 3 games on that Yorick, and he's got 100% win rate on that. So curious to see what XL look to try and answer out. And will they be the team to finally beat this Yorick? Because it's had a 100% win rate here in the UKLC. 6 games played, 6 games won. Look and see what their answer will be to that.
Well, Renekton's banned out, so you're not going to have anything that's going to be super lane dominant here. If you're looking at Sendo, I was not expecting that, but that's a very interesting pick.
You could flex it and send the Sejuani top, potentially. I feel like you probably want to go for the Jax just for the 1v1, but...
I think you take the Jax top. I think you want the gold income, you want to... and I think Sendo probably feels comfortable in that matchup in particular because you can just dodge out the empowered basic attack. You know, when he tries to go in on you, you've got the ability to jump out of the ring if you need to with a ward. You've got ways to get out of Yorik's grasp, and you're going to match him with split push pressure as the game goes on. So that is something that you always have to be aware of when you're playing into a Yorick, that he's going to be a split push monster as the game progresses. You're going to have that ability to match him on the Jax, you know, as you progress. And again, like we said, it is going to be the Cassio picked last, which is a very standard matchup into Rise. I don't know why you needed to wait until last rotation to pick that up. That is just such a standard kind of 50-50 matchup in a lot of instances. And most people, I mean, you go back 6 months, a while, you know, 6 months, and you would have seen this matchup all the time, right?
Yeah, and it's also a comfort pick for Warzy as well. Yeah. He's looked very good on it. And if I do look at Enclave, I look towards... they want to go late. They want to go real late.
That is hyper late, yeah.
If they get on a Baron towards the late game, that Baron will just melt. You don't even need Mountain Drakes. You've just got a Vayne and a Cass just shooting silver arrows, spitting poison out. It's going to go down real quick to those two. Yeah,
I mean, like you said, it's a hyper late composition. You've got Vayne, you've got Cassio, both of which are super late game scaling carries. And then you have the front line of the Gragas and the Yorick, both of which Yorick is also kind of late game scaling too. So yeah, I don't think there's much space in the early game here for Enclave. Now, what we need to see from XL is to shore up their early game much more than they have done previously. Maybe Enclave are saying, well, actually, we've seen XL be bad in the early game. We're very happy to take it to them in the laning phase, look to scale up past 30 minutes and say, hey, this is our win condition. Whereas XL, Tristana scales okay, but she's not going to scale into the damage output the same way that Vayne will, especially versus a front line. So you've got dive potential with Tristana onto the back line, but that is it's a very Inax style of play, but it is a risky style of play. However, what Tristana can do is be dominant in the laning phase with that explosive shot, being aggressive with the jump, you've got the Braum to back you up. You can look to take control of that laning phase with the extended range versus the Vayne quite easily. And then they're going to transition to a 1-3-1. So what I think XL want to do here is get ahead, top and mid especially, get ahead, 1-3-1 it, stop them from scaling.
So do you feel that we're going to be playing around with the junglers? They're going to be just focusing towards the bot lane, look to try and get the Tristana going, or would you like to see Sendo go somewhere else on the map? Why does it go somewhere else on the map?
I think if you're Taxa, you go anywhere that you can. Look for opportunities, don't focus on one particular lane, because every single lane is important. So you want your Jax to get ahead, you want your Ryze to get ahead specifically, because with double teleport, your natural transition is going to be into a 1-3-1 scenario. I'm being told by production, Borja, that we have a tweet interrupting our very important analysis. Let's have a look. I'm so hyped to watch the boys take on XL today. We have grown so much as a team this split, and I can't wait to see their performance in this week compared to that of week 1. Go team.
I mean, their week 1 wasn't terrible. They had to play Fnatic at the top of the tower, and then I believe they had to play XL instantly after that at the beginning of week 2.
Yeah.
It was a rough 2 weeks for them. But at the time, I remember us all saying, wow, that was surprisingly good from Enclave. We thought it was just going to be a convincing win for Fnatic. We thought it would be a complete stomp by XL. But Enclave have, this entire competition, always put a fight up. And while their points might not reflect actually how good they've been performing, I think they are a team who have shown themselves capable of going toe-to-toe with these bigger teams.
We've got the unsung hero from last week, by the way, and we are going to bring that up on screen so you can see. Yesterday. Unsung hero from yesterday. Let's take a look. It is Achu coming in here, 8-1-5 from Feline Gaming. He had a really good game.
He looked very good. It was really hard to choose between him and ADM, I believe, in that game, because ADM was on the Vel'Koz and had just like an incredible game. But all of our MVPs and even now our unsung hero from yesterday were all 85% kill participation. There was so much fighting yesterday, and I want more of that today. I want more action today. I mean, there's so much on the line for all of these teams. I feel like they're just going to be hungry for blood. And let's have a little look at our rosters. XL starting up with Sendo, Taxa, Exile, Inax, and Kasing, and they will be going up against Enclave, Governor, Wiseek, Warzy, Kevo, and Raisins.
I think in this game, if you're hoping for kills, it's going to be XL that is driving that. But Jake, we are on to our first game.
Ooh, baby. So much to fight for. Diabolus will be watching from the top of the tower, as our 4th and final game will be the Tower Challenge. That's what all of these teams are playing towards. XL need to try and get some redemption. Currently sitting in, I believe, 3rd. I think I said 4th at the beginning, but I believe they're actually 3rd.
Well, based on points that they've gained?
On points at the moment. And a lot of those points came from the beginning of the season when they had such a great start, but it's just gone wrong, worse and worse for them each.
Well, it's been the last 2 weeks specifically has been really rough on Excel. They brought down Exile and things started to pick up a little bit. Then they brought down Kasing and things got worse somehow. You know, maybe Mystiques was one of the driving forces behind a lot of their success. But overall, you know, I think Excel are a caliber of team that should be performing much, much higher than they are right now. And again, like you said, if you want to see some kills this game, it will not be Enclave that are bringing, unless there are kills that are being offered on a plate, it will unlikely be Enclave that are offering those kills. They want to sit back and farm. They want to scale. There is no part of Enclave that says, hell yeah, we want to fight in the early and mid game. They need 3 items on Vayne. They need, you know, 2 to 3 items on the Cassiopeia.
Now, the team comp might not say that, but Wyzik would. Wyzik is a very proactive early jungler, and him and Warzy have had fantastic jungle mid synergy all tournament long. So while maybe their team comp screams, maybe let's not fight for the first 15, 20 minutes, there's part of me that thinks maybe we'll see Wyzik go for some proactive plays along with Warzy.
Well, as a jungler, if things are being offered to you on a plate, you take them, right? I mean, there's no other way around it. You know, like, for instance, if Sendo's overextending like crazy, you just say, okay, I'm going to go top and take the kill on Sendo. It doesn't matter what the team composition is. You can see Inax trying to... That's what I mean, going aggressive onto Kavo here. You just need to jump in with an explosive shot. Level 2 can be very, I don't want to say, you know, pun it, but explosive for XL should they find an opportunity to get another stun over onto Kavo. And that's something that you've got to be worried about if you're Kavo and Raisins. You know, you are going into a lane that scales kind of okay. I mean, not kind of okay. Tristana scales really well, but also has that laning presence as well with the explosive shot.
Don't know about you, but League of Legends is very weird without sound. Have you not got sound?
I got sound.
Oh, I think DogChamp's doing my audio then, because I have no game sound.
Yeah, actually, it was an executive decision.
Quiet.
Executive decision to bring in DogChamp as one of our production crew.
Hopefully,
we actually had DogChamp assessed for intelligence, and it was shown that she was probably better than 50% of our production crew.
Well, already Taxa looking for a play on to Warzy. Not going to find anything, though.
He finds the flash and the cleanse. That's a pretty sort of big deal. 2 summoners blown. Now you're going up against a very immobile mid laner. You just return when you get the opportunity. That's a really nice bit of early pressure from Taxa. And Vycek actually had a really rough first clear. Cleared the topside jungle and had to back immediately. And actually means that he hasn't got the ability to take on that Rift Scuttler, although he is going directly down to the Rift Scuttler now. And Taxa not able to match that. So he's got away with that back early on. And now he's actually going to head to mid himself.
Wyzik maybe looking for the belly bop, does have that flash, goes in, lands it in, but Taxa's on as well. Exile low HP, Warzy finds first blood, and Inax jumps in to follow up, gets a reset, hop over onto Wyzik, but he's just too healthy. It's a 1-for-1 mid lane.
I mean, it's not the best case scenario for XL there. They end up losing XL very early on, and I think, you know, if XL had been positioned slightly better, maybe flashed out of the body slam, or not flashed out of the body slam, but flashed a little bit earlier, maybe he would have kept himself safe. But what is important is that you're looking at giving Inax the potential to carry. And Inax has always been one of the major driving forces behind XL's wins. Yesterday you spoke of the fact that he basically solo carried the entire team. And if you give Inax this early kill, and you can look to extend his pressure in the laning phase, that's a good thing for XL. Giving Inax any kind of early lead is a good thing for XL.
Now, we did see XL teleport back into the lane, so he's been able to catch a wave and keep himself at least relevant in CS. As just seeing what Wyzik can do once again, just always threatening the play as Taxa now making his way towards Governor. Has been spotted out on this ward, but Sendo can look to get him with a counter-strike.
Yeah, there's a big minion wave there. Oh, that's a huge amount of damage onto Vorsi from Exile. Too much of a minion wave there, I think. Although that's saying that Sendo's still going in.
Taxa's been very proactive early, but it's going to be Governor's flash forced out. Sendo being aggressive in the lane. Is losing some CS for it, but should be able to catch that up fairly easy. He's got a wave pushing into him for the moment.
Yeah, you can see that really Vycek has been so adamant to spend his time mid, backing up Vorsi. Maybe that jungle duo combo coming a little bit too much into his play. Whereas, you know, like I said from Sendo, from the very get-go, Sendo goes where there's the opportunity in this game. Every lane is important to him. So going top there to get an advantage for Sendo, going mid to get an advantage for Exile. Any advantage that you can accrue in this game for Exile is going to allow you to transition into that 1-3-1 a bit more aptly and a bit more proactively in the mid game.
And he's managed to have 3 ganks so far. All have been successful if you think about the summoner spells he's been able to force out, the kill he was able to get for his team. And he's staying equal in CS to Wyzik. He's only been able to do 2 ganks, I believe, so far. So,
and both of those were mid, right? So
yeah.
And although Visek did get something out of it, the rest of his lanes are starting to struggle. And BF sword back immediately now for Inax in that bot lane. That's a huge back for him because it's going to give him the potential, you know, once you get to level 5 or 6 to really threaten that Vayne.
But we do start to look at the items. Exile, because of that early death and that TP he had to use to get back into lane, actually just sitting on the double dark seal. So hasn't actually got his tier to stack up quite yet, which does mean he'll be a little bit slower on getting that item finished up. But Wisek now, sounds like he's been listening to you and he's thinking about going top lane, but the wave is just a little bit too pushed.
Yeah, well, actually, Sendo did a really good job of freezing that lane on the top side of the map, actually using Counter-Strike to just make sure he pulls the minion wave into the correct position. And it's left it in a wide open area for Taxa to actually make a return back. After taking red buff, he can move up through the jungle, head towards that top side of the map. And if Governor isn't careful, that's a really easy gank for the Sendo and Taxa combination, especially as Taxa should be able to hit level 6 on his way up.
Yeah, there's level 6 is going to be the big thing to track here. You can see what kind of plays they can do with that. But for the moment, Taxa just wants to get his hands on to the Rift Scuttler. With the priority that he's got in the bot lane as well, it does mean if anything goes awry, they'll be able to quickly rotate and help him.
Looks like there is an aggressive push to get some vision down on that blue side jungle for Enclave. This is not only going to help keep tabs on where Taxa is specifically, but also it's going to keep Governor a little bit safer. You know, should you see a rotation from Taxa up to that top side jungle.
Look at the mid lane though, Governor and Wisek's coming in. You can see Wisek's put the turbo boost on Exile, goes away with the miasma, cancels him out, he's trying to turn it around now. Taxa has joined up with him, and Exile with the phase rush is just enough movement speed to get himself out.
That was a good response by Taxa there to help save Exile. Exile almost up creek without a paddle. But unfortunately, they don't manage to capitalize, and Governor really hasn't had much opportunity yet. Sendo reacted really well to seeing Governor rotate towards the top side of the map. Although, wait a second.
Warzy gets caught. That's going to be the ultimate by Taxa. Instant cleanse out. The shield's going to come through. And Warzy gets out with 35 HP.
Oh, that's rough. I mean, I had that flash. That flashlight, sorry, wasn't available for Taxa, so he couldn't actually push on and get the kill there. And enough is enough for them. They're going to try and take the dragon with the pressure that they've created. And this is something that I do need to praise XL for. Although they haven't actually converted much of the pressure from the jungle into kills, what they have done is use the pressure in the lanes to generate things like neutral objectives, even if it's just Rift Scuttlers, just getting a little bit of extra CS, just putting pressure on in terms of freezing lanes. It's a good job from XL.
Taxa, you good, dude?
He's got Smite.
He's got Smite, okay. Yeah. He's fine. Next Drake's going to be an Infernal. They've got that Cloud Drake, which is going to be nice because of how proactive Tax has been on the map. How much we've seen the bot lane also roaming. Kasing came to the mid lane play in that one we just saw. Inax was there for the first Blood one. So that Cloud Drake does mean they're going to be able to move around the map a little bit quicker. Try to be proactive in those plays. As we do look at towards this top lane here, Sendo with CS lead over Governor. He's got that tier map finished up, and they're going to scale pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, there is... CS leads in both the mid and the top lane, to be honest, and those are the lanes that you do want to be doing well. It's nice to have Inax doing well, although he is even with Kavo right now. But having your two solo laners in a double teleport composition do well is really good. Like we've mentioned so many times before, you know, the ideal scenario for XL is to go 1-3-1. And even if we get to a later stage of the game, we don't want there to be a situation where you have to team fight, although there is a sort of a potential gank in the top lane right now. Well,
it's Kevo and Raisins. You did see that Warzy, I believe, was seen on a ward, but it doesn't matter. The Justice Punch is in. Kevo has the Counter-Strike on for the moment. Can't quite stun enough targets, and Kevo is going to be able to get himself the kill.
Oh, Sendo with the coin flip. Didn't expect the rotation early on. I think they tried to pull Governor out of the bad matchup more than anything. Oh. And they're avoiding that laning phase spike, you know, between Kasing and Inax. The best response for XL right now is put pressure on this bot lane turret, take it, and get the rotation too. But realistically, this has been a great play for Enclave, because they're now going to get plating on the top lane for free too.
Onto the Vayne as well, who wants these items under her belt. You can see that the flash is back up for both Warzy and Exile. No cleanse, though, for the moment for Warzy, which could be a little bit of a problem for him.
They're just going to take the blue buff here. It looks like they're trying to trade blue for blue. They know that the Visek rotated down to the blue buff spawn of XL, so they want to get a rotation and a trade in their own favor. And then I'm going to rotate down to bot. They need to take this first turret to get anything out of this very proactive rotation coming out. The one thing that you can say is that Governor has been denied more CS, which, you know, could be of importance. A little bit worried about Sendo showing himself on the top side of the map, though, because you can see Visek is still hovering around. Think he's soloing out Rift Herald, too. Massive, massive... Oh, little careful, but I've got to praise Enclave for being so good at responding on the map and actually making a proactive play that's worked out so well for them.
Yeah, they should be able to get this turret here. I don't think the rotation's going to be quick enough from the XL bot lane, especially with that demolish as well, although the wave for the minions is a little thin here for the moment. So they actually might have to wait one more wave, and that might just be enough time for XL to hold out, but with Weiser getting the Rift-tailed, should be able to crack that turret nice and easy. Every time we look mid lane, Warzy is in such a hairy situation. Taxa jumps on, the cleanse has been held because it's down, and Exile finds the kill.
That was a really nice play from Taxa. They waited for their opportunity with Sendo rotating down. Sendo's even going to try and get some of this jungle camps with the Tiamat. The Governor has to come and respond. There isn't any direct response from XL for the Governor rotation, but that was a really nice play knowing that the cleanse was down momentarily for Vorsi. It was very close. And now they're going to look to push and try and get a bit more pressure on this mid lane turret.
I mean, Inax is getting 3 plates in the top lane as well, along with that first turret of blood. He's looking to get a lot of extra gold under his pocket. I did actually miss when we toggled how much gold he had, but looks like a rotation is coming in, and Wyzik, he's put that Predator on. Inax could be on the receiving end of a gank. That's going to be the belly bop. The Glacial Fish is in, and Inax uses the ultimate to get away, flashes away though, but the tower shots is going to be enough to get him out as Kasing flashes away, and Enclave find themselves a kill.
XL have got apps. He's got no arms.
I love that one.
That's so good. I mean, XL have really neglected river vision on the top side of the map, and that has been biting them in the butt every single time. That has been a free rotation from Visek. It happened with Sendo, it happened again with Inax, and they've given up top lane turret for it too. That was just a massive mishap from XL. They really didn't need to be that far extended with no river vision.
Well, that's going to be the turret going down. You see the Rift-tail got a charge off in the mid lane. Let's give over a few plates here and there. Sendo, half HP, probably not going to go for the flank right yet.
I'd be worried if I were XL. You've just given 2 kills over to Kavo, who's now finished his Blade of the Ruined King.
Yeah, and you're already sitting on double daggers, a pickaxe, and a BF sword, building towards that Infinity Edge, but it's a ways away, and Kevo pulled himself ahead in the gold lead now towards this bot lane. But I'm still concerned about Warzy on this Cassiopeia. Exile, so far ahead.
CS ahead. I mean, this is Exile's rise. He's just going in, and it's nothing you can really do about it without babysitting him.
Oh.
Nice dodge of the ultimate too there. Oh.
Sidesteps the ulti. Infernal Drake's coming up as well. Warzy's just used his ultimate, and it cost Exile nothing. It's a key tool down for them for the moment. It looks like they might just have to concede this, but want to try and take out a few of these wards. Taxa does have ultimate that cleanses back up on Warzy now.
Yeah, but there is no cleanse on Kavo at this point in time either, so if you can get him without flashing, I think XL just forced this dragon. I think they are strong at this point in time. The Vayne is the only person that you have to worry about. So if you can get XL onto the backline to put pressure on the Vayne, he's got, what, 3 levels on the Vayne, he's got plenty of damage. I'd be worried if I was Kavo in this situation, and I do think XL is stronger and strong enough to force this, especially without the Cassiopeia ultimate.
Well, you can see the wave got pushed in, so Kevo goes to catch it, and as soon as he shows, XL pull the trigger and go for this Infernal Drake. Can see Sendo's had to go deal with Maiden and Governor in the top lane, but next Drake will be another Infernal as well.
XL just need to continue putting pressure on, try and find a way to stop this game stalling out, because that's the worst thing for them in this scenario. You've already given an early lead to the Vayne. You don't want to let that lead accelerate. The best thing the Vayne wants is for you to be stuck in a status quo where no turrets are going down, you're bouncing waves back to Kavo who gets them free, and you're not taking anything with it. The Infernal Drake is a good way to sort of ask questions of Enclave, but if Enclave aren't willing to answer, you need to go a bit further than that. You need to start to put pressure on other objectives. You need to group up. You need to take advantage of your item spikes in the mid game. And especially now Exile's finished up his Archangels and we've got the Infinity Edge on Inax. This is a good point in the game to group up and say, hey, siege turrets, hey, support a team fight, hey, get deep vision down in the enemy jungle. These are all good things that XL can do right now that will start to ask questions of Enclave, who are very happy to sit back and farm.
Well, you can see Taxis joining up with Exile here, but it's a 2-2-1 so far for the moment, and it's Sendo in the 1v1 versus Warzy.
I think it's fine to now rotate top as a 4, because remember, you're in a strong position in this game right now. Looks like Exile's just trying to zone the Vayne away, at least threaten the presence to the Vayne, and that's going to give a bit more time over to Inax and Kasing, who are trying to push up this top lane turret.
Governor's taking so much just free poke from Inax.
He doesn't really have that much armor to speak of right now. He's gone a bit more of an aggressive build here. And actually, Kavo and Raisins have decided to head back towards the mid lane.
Just looking to catch that wave. Don't want to lose too much here. too much free gold for these waves and give up a big chunk of tower damage, but this will just mean XL are able to take down this turret here in the top lane. That'll be the second turret of the game. Even want to take out the maiden, but Sendo here might be in for a bit of trouble. Q's to the blast cone, is able to get his way over. It's not like a Rengar. Have you ever seen that one? Where he auto-attacks the plant out of a bush and he just goes whoop,
bounces
in and
straight
out.
back. Yeah.
Yo-yos in and out.
Yeah. That's a good start now for XL because they are now putting pressure on the top side of the map. And what you saw from Taxa and Exile, it was just a constant pressure in the enemy red side jungle, making it difficult for Kavo and Razors to commit to the rotate. Because if, you know, let's say Exile catches out Kavo on the rotate, he's probably dead.
Yeah.
You know, and so you have to be very wary about your rotations if you are doing them blindly through your own jungle when you've got a very strong Exile on this rise and Taxa backing him up. And this is just smart play from XL. They're just saying, okay, we push top lane, you've got a wave that you have to catch, and Vayne is going to want to catch that wave. She goes to catch it, you then rotate mid, you take the tower, and just like you see, 2 towers for free in a very short space of time for XL. But it's not enough. They are still only about 2,000 gold in the lead. They need to keep pushing that.
The question is where is that gold as well? I mean, you've got to think that XL's got a big chunk of that with his massive CS lead in that mid lane.
I'd say XL's got the majority.
Yeah. I would be inclined to agree with you there.
So we are now starting up the 1-3-1, it looks like, with Exile heading towards the top side of the map, having the teleport up, Sendo also on the bottom side of the map. And this is kind of where Exile would have liked to have been at this stage in the game. They've got two strong solo laners who are hitting item spikes, who probably beat their counterparts in a 1v1 scenario. And then you have Inax, who is keeping toe-to-toe with Vayne, and is actually stronger at this point in the game than Vayne is. So
yeah, closing in on that rapid-fire cannon, only about 700 gold away from that item, will just give so much extra range where he can just free poke Kevo before Kevo can get in range. Because if it does get into a close range fight, Kevo should be able to get a pretty effective trade.
Also, you've got to remember that the only person that actually wants to split push in the Enclave composition is Governor. If you're pulling this into a 1-3-1 where you force Forsey, one of the major late game carries for Enclave, to stick to a side lane. It's a little bit like Orianna syndrome in a split push game, where Orianna is stuck in a side lane clearing waves. That's not what a Cassiopeia wants to do. Cassiopeia ideally wants to be in a team fight, grounding enemies, protecting the Vayne, giving peeling potential to the Vayne. And, you know, this is a built team fight composition, you know, in essence, without the Governor. But keeping us stuck to a side lane is everything that they don't want. So if XL could continue this and actually get something from it, and, you know, with the pressure that they've got bot lane, they should be able to get another Infernal, and then they can translate that into a Baron and then go 1-3-1 again. This is a game that XL can accelerate over the next 10 minutes before we even get to a stage where Vayne is relevant. But
that is what we need to watch, is how, if they can actually stick to that game plan, if they can accelerate this game and keep themselves on top of Enclave. Because if Enclave get that wiggle room, get that time that you were talking about earlier on, they could just farm into a point where Cassiopeia is a monster, where Vayne is a monster, and Governor in the side lane is going to be able to split push for days.
It does look like they're grouping up for this Inferno. Maybe they feel like they are strong enough now with the Archangels finished on the Cassiopeia. You've got the Triforce and the Yorick. You know, maybe they feel like, oh, wait a second, Taxa!
They're going in for the fight. That's going to be the taunt onto 2 members. Glacial Fish is out. They condemn one in. The belly pop's huge! Massive cleanse! And Kevo's a kill! He gets himself a double kill so far. And Exile is in the wrong place for the moment. Raisins is chasing him down, but it looks like Enclave, with 2 quick kills, are able to get themselves a massive teamfight win.
That was a huge Cassiopeia ultimate, though. I mean, no, we've got Kavo pulling out the dab there, but that was a huge Cassio ultimate.
What was even bigger was the Wyzik ult. He ulted Inax into the Cassiopeia ultimate, and as soon as it wore off, he belly bopped him. They just chained the CC onto Inax, and he couldn't flash away.
I feel like that was just an overconfident play from XL in general. I feel like they just thought, okay, we're strong enough at this point in the game. We don't really need to worry about coordinating our team fight properly. We don't need to worry about their chain CC. We could just go in and win, right? We've got XL who's really far ahead. They got punished so hard for that play.
Hey, XL stole that.
Punished so, and that's awful because it's another 2 kills over to Vayne. She's now Blade of the Ruined King Gwynstoos. Let's take a look at that replay. All good start for XL, right? This is great, but yeah, watch this. Great ultimate, belly bop into Cassiopeia ultimate, and immediately the focus from Kavo was onto the right target. XL was doing nothing because he felt like he was being zoned out by the Vayne. That was beautiful chain CC from Enclave. That was a teamfight played to perfection at this stage in the game.
I wish we could see damage, because I reckon Inax probably did about 100. He was just CC'd the whole fight.
I think he was too aggressively positioned. I think they were worried about diving the Vayne too much than they needed to be right now. I don't think you need to worry about diving the Vayne at this stage in the game. She only had the Blade of the Ruined King finished.
Look at the pings. They're pinging around Baron, but it looks like they're just stepping away. Just want to get some vision control around there.
Vayne is 700 gold ahead of Inex.
Yeah, it's not going to be very good for them for the moment. Let's see what items also coming through. As Taxa does have his ultimate available. They're going into Raisins. The concussive blows are up, and Kevo uses his ultimate. That's going to force them away.
That's rough, actually, from Enclave getting forced to use that ultimate. But again, it's a short cooldown, and unless XL can do anything with it in the next few minutes, I wouldn't be too stressed if I was Enclave. Again, you're just having waves pushed into Kevo. He's now got a gold lead on his counterpart AD carry. I mean, it's not awful if this goes late and we get a 3-item Vayne, as long as XL are able to continue 1-3-1ing and generating pressure that way. But, you know, at some point in the game, Cassiu's going to go 1v1 really easily versus the Ryze. And at some point in the game, Governor's not going to struggle, or at least will be able to hold his own versus the Jax.
This is one of the things I was talking about the Vayne yesterday as well. Now that Gwynzoo's and Blades picked up, your build path is fairly flexible at this point. You can go for the Phantom Dancer if you want to have, like, a little bit more attack speed. You can go for the GA if you want to have that survivability in a fight and a bit the kind of safe option. There's still a fair few items you could go into, but you're not particularly set on which one you go next.
I mean, I think if I was in her position, I'd be looking for maybe the Phantom Dancer. I think I'd be more worried about a 1v1 versus the Jax, or more worried about trying to kite backwards against the Ryze. The GA is not so much that much of important to me, because I feel like if you're in GA and you're popped in GA, your team's probably lost the team fight anyway, and they're just going to position around you and kill you. I think if you're going up against a true assassin, then maybe GA is worth it, because they're just going to kill you in the backline instantaneously. But I think if you're playing in this particular game, having that ability to 1v1 and reduce your damage versus the guy coming at you, probably a bit more relevant for Vayne in this particular circumstance.
I mean, if we do look at the gold here, you can see...
I mean, Rapid Fire wouldn't even be that bad either.
Rapid Fire actually would help for a little bit, kind of give you that range you're lacking. But I just want to go back to the gold, as you can see it on your screen. The mid, Exile versus Warzy, is still a point where if XL play around Exile, he could actually really do some serious work for this team.
Well, this is the conundrum that I think XL are in. Maybe they feel reluctant to teamfight because of how the last one went, and then they don't think that XL has got the potential to really sort of single-handedly carry versus the Vayne at this point in the game. So they want to continue to 1-3-1. But again, they need to get something out of it, and it looks like they're trying to now.
Warzy's going to get his Flash Force. Did hold the cleanse, though, but that's the flash down. So nice attempt there from Exile.
Governor's rotated up, actually. But something that we haven't talked about is Governor's TP is on cooldown, and Sendo's is not. So there is a small period here where XL could force something, and the response from Sendo would be much, much quicker than the response from Governor.
Yeah, he's kind of just clearing out a few camps here and there where he can get them, but it's been quite a while since we've seen a turret go down here for XL. They do have a lot of damage onto that top lane, tier 2, so if they can find that opening, they might be able to get that down.
This is the sort of the limbo that we're caught in. Exile does manage to get that out. He's got to be very careful. So much damage. I mean, this is how strong Exile is. He's basically putting XL on his back right now on this Ryze. And now Exile have caught Enclave on the rotation. And if they can keep this here, and if Exile rotates, they could even go for the inhibitor turret.
I mean, Phase Rush plus Spellbinders just means Exile has no problem dodging dodging that cask. So nice from him. They do get a bit of damage onto that tier 3 in the mid lane. But they take down the turret in the top side, and now they're just opening up the map. You can see from the vision toggle, it's all blue. It's all Exile in this top lane, and it looks like they want to try and get their hands onto this. As Sendo, he's just going to solo the Cloud Drake as well, improve that movement speed. And XL are taking 2 neutral objectives at the same time across the map.
I think actually they might have caught Enclave unaware here. They get the Dragon, and maybe Enclave just think they've gone for the Dragon instead of the Baron. This is a complete bait. Maybe there's an attempted steal here.
They spotted them out. Why is it? Oh, gets ulted by Taxa, and that will just be the Baron going over to XL.
That was a really, really good play from XL. All of that slow progress, top and mid, the pushing of those waves, the catching out of Enclave, forcing them to push into their own base, then having to catch those waves for the Vayne and the Cassiopeia specifically, bought enough time for XL to make a very quick rotation. And remember, all of that pressure that they've kept in the top and mid side of the map has allowed them to continue to maintain complete vision control and vision dominance over the red side and also the Baron pit area, which has allowed them to get that Baron for free. That was such a clever play from XL and a really nice use of the pressure that they've been generating over the last 5 minutes.
And now the concern comes from, can Enclave actually deal with these Baron waves? Vayne, short range. does mean that you kind of have to get quite close to the wave and put yourself in a potentially dangerous situation, or a situation where you're at least going to get poked by the rapid fire from Inax. And then Cassiopeia with the increased magic resist might have a little bit of a harder time cutting through these minions. It is one of those machine gun mages, so you do have a little bit more consistent damage, as you can see here, but it is single target, mainly with those Twin Fangs.
All right, we're going to get rid of the Maiden, which will be nice. Or at least I think we're getting... Well, yeah, we're getting rid of the Maiden, and now the minion waves are going to start to crash into this top lane tier 2. Oh, sorry, bot lane tier 2. It's the last tier 2 left on the map. And XL now have a brief moment with this Baron, where if they can get enough damage done, they might stop this game ever becoming an issue with the Vayne. It's already at 3-item Vayne, so we're already at issue territory if you're XL. You do need to be very, very wary. She did go for the Phantom Dancer.
Oh, XL is forced. He's condemned and he goes down. The shutdown goes over to Kevo as well. It's going to be big for him, but XL, in the meantime, looking just to get themselves onto this turret. Governor gets caught by the Glacial Prison. Redemption's coming in, and Sendo launches into the backline. Raisin tries to Justice Punch to safety, but not going to find it. Sendo jumps away. Wisek, casks available, splits up the team. Sendo and Taxa still at the front, though. Inax untouched, and XL are able to walk away.
I think if you're Exile, you're happy to trade your life for an inhibitor turret in the bot lane, especially because Sendo is winning that matchup right now. And he is got to be a little bit careful. He's not the tankiest Jax in the world. He's kind of reluctantly avoided any kind of tanky stats.
He's gone Spear Sojin is what he's building towards. It's so good on Jax.
It's really, really good on Jax. Needs to finish that, though. He's still only on the Killer Gem and the BF Sword.
Alrighty, well. XL. You can see Inax has now got that static shift, so he's got the double Energizer build.
Yeah, hardcore wave shoving, which I think is what is winning XL at the game right now. Exile's now going to push towards the top side. Very, very low on that top lane inhibitor turret.
20 minions away from the flame horizon. You can see Inax gets Buster shot away to safety, and that saves his life as Sendo going 1v1 with Governor. Oh, just gets the solo kill as Kevo is looking to take him down, but he stuns him off. Sendo does not find himself the kill. Now the inhibitors are getting focused out. XR is taking the turret in the top lane as well, so they can rotate towards that top side. All three inhibitors are now left exposed. The health bars are low for Exile, but XL gonna step away, don't want to risk it, don't want to throw the game out the window here. And they're gonna cool off the Jets.
That was a big play from Sendo. It bought so much space. Kevo felt like he had to react to the 1v1 versus Governor, which bought 2 inhibitors. Because Kevo had to react, it bought 2 inhibitors for XL. That is a big Baron power play. 4 minutes 30 on both inhibitors. What can XL do? Can they get that final punch through? Because they're going to need an objective to either bait Enclave out or give them obscene power in a team fight. Because I still think that at this stage in the game, I mean, I think Vorsi is too far behind, but you're looking at an almost 4-item Vayne. At this stage in the game, can you actually go for a full-on team fight 5v5 versus Enclave, despite them being 7,000 gold behind? You've got a 4-item Vayne almost to deal with. That is a huge deal that XL have to respect.
That Spear Sojin is now up, finished though for Inax Sendo, which means his counter-strike is on a very short cooldown when he's got ulti up.
And Kevo does not have sums.
Kevo has no sums. Inax has a QSS and all his sums. It actually might not be as dire of a situation to fight if they play around that for the moment, but they might just step back. They know that that Baron's coming up in 1 minute 30. They know now with the 2 waves of supers pushing for them, they do have a lot of priority on the map. And
I think you can let the minions win the game for you, right? If you just get the next in Baron, you can probably just let the minions do your job.
Yeah.
Without having to go too ham on a team fight situation, which, like you said, is okay, because they do have lots of potential to lock down the Vayne, but it's also a risk taking on a 4-item Vayne, you know? And I think by the time the next team fight rolls around, we will be looking at close to a 4-item Vayne. Going for a GA, I think.
Exile's gone for the Sorcery Elixir as well, so he gets that bonus true damage to these structures. Ooh, so he's going to be pretty horrible in the side lanes. And you can see the Enclave are playing around that. Wisek puts on the Predator, gets locked down, and Exile just stands still, holds fast. 1v3, this man is an animal.
Absolutely.
Sendo's just ending the base.
Oh, Kevo's going in.
He's throwing the ultimate down. They've got the hero's entrance on. The knockup's not going to land on any members for the moment. Sendo is on the flank. They're going in for the fight. The health bars for Enclave are low, and Raisins is being melted by Inax. A double kill for the Tristana. Governor is next on the menu. Wisek's going to be able to get himself one. It's a triple kill, though. Picked up for Inax. He's going low. Not low enough for the Quadra, though. but the base might just be forfeit here. XL have managed to take themselves out Enclave, but they need to kill out these last few members. A great condemn goes onto Sendo. They're trying to get a few glory kills, but Inax is focusing the Nexus down as it falls at 30 minutes.
Ooh. You felt like that was touch and go for XL that game. You really did. I think a lot of those awkward mid-game teamfights where they gifted over so much gold to Kavo, I was in my head, I was thinking, bloody hell, XL, like you're giving him an inch, he might take a mile.
It was so on and off. And even in that last fight in the Nexus, I was like, they're going for just the Nexus here, and Kevo could literally just rip through them, but unable to pull that win out for Enclave. But also, if we look at XL, I was better than what we saw versus Bulldogs yesterday. Much better.
What I like from what XL did here is it wasn't so much about wildly cleaning up team fights. They had a game plan, right?
Yeah.
Their game plan was 1-3-1. I don't see too many UK teams make 1-3-1 work to the extent that it should, and XL definitely did right there. They pushed both those side lanes, and really I think a lot of that pressure was driven specifically from Exile with the 50-odd CS lead that he gained over his counterpart and then translated that into side lane pressure. That was really nice to see from him. And speaking of which...
Yep, he is our MVP. Exile, fantastic game on the rise. 1-3-3, not quite the highest kill participation we've had this week on MVP, but I mean, I want to double check that, but I'm fairly certain he flame Horizon Warzy in that game.
I think it was definitely close, and I think the kill score doesn't really tell the kind of pressure that he had in that game. And I think even if you look at the kill scores in general, XL was still 2 kills behind Enclave in total, so it wasn't really a kill-orientated game. This was a game that was about a strategy to shut down any kind of teamfight opportunities that Enclave could find. And generating that side lane pressure, XL starved every global objective away, and then also, with the Baron, made a huge power play to go and get 2 inhibitors and leave the last inhibitor open. So it was just really good stuff from XL, and avoided the kind of situations that put them in the toilet in the early game, which was those full-on 5v5s where they just couldn't actually perform to the same level as Enclave.
It was a massive improvement, and I think what we've seen the last few weeks from XL is they've been kind of pulled down to the level of who they're playing, and they're willing to go nitty-gritty and just start fighting them. This time they went, you know what, let's not play your game, let's play our game, let's play for control. So, I mean, it was a fantastic win for XL, and they are going to be our first team to make it through to the finals to see who is going to take onto the Tower Challenge. But we still have another game. We have Phelan versus M&M coming up after the break, so don't go anywhere. See you in a minute.